I'm Bob. This is the other world according to Bob. I'm here to review a book that may prove very controversial for my teeny tiny channel. But I'm going to review it because this is my show, and that's what I do. Mom didn't want to appear in this one. You'll see why momentarily. But first, I do not endorse the author's opinion. I do not endorse the author's opinion on gay, straight, trans, fat, or disabled people. In fact, this used to be a book I very much enjoyed. I'm talking, of course, today about Harry Potter. I am going to start with book 5 and end with book 7 or 8 because I never made it all the way through to book 7. I own it, bought my copies in the 90s, but I do not recall what happened in book 7 because as a child I only made it this far to book 5. I started book 6, found out what happened in it, and I wasn't able to finish book 7 with Mom. Mom read it on her own. She read book 7. I have read book 8. Book 8 was very enjoyable before I found out the author's political opinions. That author, of course, being J.K. Rowling. So, if this was half as good as I remembered, the book that first had me writing fan fiction to be part of that world was originally, I would have given it an automatic 5. But I didn't feel welcome in the wizarding world anymore. Owl House? Oh, absolutely. I feel welcome. But this, no. I just, no. A lot of stuff have changed, you know. And the heavyset characters as a heavyset child, I did not think of them as heavyset. I did not think of, they're all villains, but I thought of them as villains. I didn't think of them as heavyset. Now it's like, as a heavyset disabled child, I can't see myself. Where are the disabled people, JK? Where? And I don't want to hear, oh, one of the Quidditch announcers are disabled, or they have a disabled person in the game. I mean, in book 9, let's be honest, she's probably going to do a book 9. I want is honest disabled people. I want a wizard with muscular dystrophy, a wizard with CP. Battle it out. Have fun with it. I did in my story. I had true fun with it. But this again is coming from a guy that was always sympathetic toward Voldemort in book 2. He was the hero of that fan fiction I mentioned earlier. Tom Riddle. Why, you say? Is not everybody's a bad guy. Um, the audiobook performance was still stellar. The the um actor that voiced the audiobook performance should not get hate, or because it's not his fault that the author that he is currently making money off of his performance um turned out to be less than savory. It's not his fault. Back then, he won a bunch of awards. I'm not saying we should take his awards away. In fact, I think that enhances the performance. The fact that he tried to do Luna Lovegood, which I agree, she's probably what J.K. Rowling thinks of us, disabled people. Um, that and Hagrid's brother, which is brought in this too, is probably what J.K. Rowling inevitably thinks of disabled people. But I can't say, I don't know her. But based on her performance online, I'd say so. Um, for children in the future, the Owl House is still where I'd go. And I know that Disney has probably squandered that to such a degree that, but a 15-year-old Harry is still ama- amazing to see at the end of the book. It really doesn't get good till the end of the book, where that gets good from moment one. This requires a bit of a build up, so if you're not willing to sort through the books, just know that, yeah, it really doesn't, because you don't find out about the prophecy till the end of the book. You don't find out that Neville Longbottom, well, you being in the future probably know, also has a coincidental birthday. You don't find out that Hagrid's keeping his giant brother in the forest because he doesn't want him to be like isolated. You don't find out that Snape is doing things on his own side, not for the Mystery of Magic. All I remembered about this was Dolores Umbridge being dragged away by the satyrs, and for some reason Harry saying, which I think happened in the book, I mean the movie, "I'm sorry, Professor Umbridge, I must not tell lies," because that's what she tells him at the very beginning of the book when she's trying to convince him of her way of thinking. Um, he doesn't say that in the book. It's a cool add-on, but it's not there. Just like the only black character mentioned is Shinsley Kinsley Shacklebolt. I didn't make up the name, she did. She made him a master of magic. It's a real big character, but she does not say Hermione's black. Not like in the play. Um, which I think if, and this is just my opinion here, if it had been that important to her, she would have put it in. Um, it's kind of pleasant to see the pleasant part of book 6 in this book, because the beginning, again, I've read, but that ending's going to be rough to get through now, especially. You find out why he was with the Dursleys the whole time, and that's part of the chunk I probably would still leave in the book. You know, I'd make that important for like the show or whatever, which I don't think it's gonna get past season 2. But um, there really isn't an adult mentor. Snape, looking at everything he does versus what he does in book 6, we'll get there when we get there. It just made my, was she playing that all along, or does she write these by the seat of her pants like I sometimes do? um they had a little segment at the end of the book of book 6. It kind of made me want to go back and reread book 6, but we'll see how this does. I doubt it's going to do well. J.K. Rowling is not in vogue anymore. I used to think she had based Luna Lovegood on herself, and now she probably based Dumbledore on herself and gave herself the headmaster, which Dolores Umbridge kind of feels like what she became, at least for me. And it's like, being that her and Neil Gaiman were both two of my favorite authors, I don't know. But please don't let that stop you from reading this book. There are still plenty of good twists and turns. Book 4 is still a great time travel story leading up to book 8. Um, I really don't have a joke for this one. I I would have loved it if I knew that his relationship with Dudley and the Dursleys got any better. Because even though Mad Eye Moody and the rest, Ron's father and whatnot, tell the Dursleys not to be mean to him any longer, it doesn't improve in book 8. I'll tell you that right now. It's like, I think there's a point where Dudley tries to talk to his cousin and he just doesn't. He shuts down. And it's like, yeah, it makes me sad that consideration for her villain characters like Tom Riddle weren't there, and I was wrong. But you can always write something better. You have the power. That's the beauty of the future. It's a beautiful thing. We don't all have to be like Dumbledore at the end of this and hide secrets from our Harrys, Hermione's, and Ron's. I mean, Sirius's death still got to me, but some wizards were meant to die in battle, I guess. So, again, I'd give it a 3 if I'm being generous. It only gets that extra point because I have a happy memory of reading this with my mother. And the man that did the audiobook, I cannot stress this enough, did a fine job. And he tried to differentiate characters like Cho Chang, and but Cho and Luna always sounded the same. They didn't; those two characters didn't stick out in my mind. I mean, it kind of threw me for a loop when Cho and Luna were, on the rare occasions they were both in the scene together, that they had been put in the same scene together, if that makes any sense. So, um, which isn't his fault. He's trying to do what the Watchmen motion comic did and do the male the male voices as well as the female voices. Yeah, hopefully book 7 cleans up and gets a 4 at most. I doubt the books will ever be a perfect 5 again. You can't go home again, kids. Yeah, I liked that. I liked that she tried to include more kids, like Padma and Neville, and like I said, Luna. But inevitably, the adding of the characters too just fell flat. It was like in the owl house or in Kingdom Hearts, those characters have a purpose for being there. When I write, I try to be true to who my friends were, which I don't know. I mean, I never felt that Tonks was trans, and I never felt that the grown-ups in this book were anything more than grown-ups. But yeah, now I kind of see it. I don't know what to say. So, next book, John Della Rosa's The Eurasian War. Hopefully that's better than this. Hopefully it can paint a prettier picture. I've been Bob. This has been the other world according to Bob. Bob out. Hi. Um, forgot to say that um not only do I expect there to be a book 9 of Harry Potter, and that I will be looking at the Harry Potter books now as a whole, and this will be part of my book series here on YouTube. Um, if if you want to read a book with actual love put into it and see me do a positive review, please check out The Wizards of Ranelagh. Or again, my video on the Owl House. Yeah. Cho Chang. That's not a good name for a Chinese person. Cho Chang. How unoriginal. It's hard to name people. I'll give you that, but just Peggy. You don't have to give him a last name. Just Peggy. And say she's Asian. It's not that hard. I play with my hair when I'm stressed. Buckle in, kids. This was a long one. I realized that in this one, I realized that the grown-ups for Harry Potter weren't like Edith from the Owl House. They just left him at the Dursleys. It didn't feel like they cared anymore. I know. Please leave in the comments who you think Luna Lovegood was based on. Was it Joanne Rowling? Or was it somebody else? I remember hearing that she originally wrote Harry Potter on napkins and that she borrowed one of a person's surname, one of the people she knew. That there was somebody named Potter. That was from a big boy interview. I don't know how true that is, but if that is true, J.K. Rowling might have based Luna on someone. I still don't know. Yeah. And also let me know if you guys want me to talk more about the fan fiction I wrote when I was 10 with my original characters and Tom Riddle being a good guy. Like, comment, subscribe. All you fans of Hagrid, you better know Hagrid is barely in this. Hagrid's barely in this. And I say in this video that 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 um J.K. Rowling might have based Dumbledore on herself. Well, in this book, J.K. Dumbledore is barely there for Harry. He wants virtually nothing to do with him. He tries to confess and say how bad it was, that he was scared that Voldemort might attack him, and that the oh my god, how sorry he is that he didn't tell him the truth from the beginning. But it's like he has such power, the Ministry of Magic is scared of him. And she wants us to believe that Dumbledore couldn't take on the challenge from this book, at least. And it's like, no, you as a writer couldn't find a way out, and you're just and Hagrid, they make not in this for a decent chunk of it, but it's like he's there. You think, oh, good, Hagrid's back because this is the guy. This is the face of the wizarding world. Hagrid was the kind gentleman that came and first scooped Harry up and away from the Dursleys, away from the negative real world, and tried to show him someplace magical, someplace that normies don't get to go. Someplace that most people don't get to see. And now he is too wrapped up in his own mystical stuff. And it's like, yeah, I had forgotten that Hagrid wasn't there for half the book. So, and McGonagall gets injured. So, me saying that the adults just aren't there, that's what I mean. I mean that Dumbledore doesn't want him. Hagrid's not there. It, it, and at the end, McGonagall rewards the house a bunch of points, but that's the end. That's not the rest of the book. And that's what I mean when I say that stuff doesn't get good till the end of the book. It just doesn't. You know? And they they weren't satyrs, they were centaurs that carried Umbridge away. I say centaurs. Satyrs in I'm sorry, satyrs in this video, but they are centaurs. A bigger magical creature, which I don't know. So yeah, I and for your future reference, I am still working on Dorothy Must Die as well. But Dorothy Must Die is isn't the only book. It, yeah, isn't the only book that I have in my to be read pile. We have a Quantum Leap book. We have another Wizards of Mickey. We have a lot of things coming, kids. But the next one probably is going to be the one I mentioned in the video by John Delarose. So, and me saying that Dumbledore was probably based on, like J.K. Rowling self-insert, doesn't mean that I think she's as smart as Dumbledore. Heavens, no. No one here on this earthly realm is. But, I also give the opinion on who I think she's actually more like now. Enjoy the video.